Hi, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how I made this cute epoxy resin hedgehog. So what I started out with was Let's Resin epoxy resin. This is part B, and I'm going to use 2 ounces of part B. And then I'm going to bring out part A, and I'm going to use 2 ounces of part A. So a total of 4 ounces mixed together, and I'm going to mix it for 4 minutes. And I'm going to mix it slowly so I don't get a lot of bubbles in there. Once I have mixed it for 4 minutes, then I'm going to separate it. And I'm going to put 2 ounces in this 1 cup here, which will leave 2 ounces in the cup that I'm pouring from. And I will be using this, I think it's mocha. Anyway, it is a brown mica powder. And I'm going to put it in the larger of my 2 cups. I'm going to use about 1.5 spoons of the powder. And then I'm going to mix it really good until I don't see any of the powder floating in my resin. Again, trying to go slow, scraping the sides. You want to make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom when you're mixing the resin also. And now what I have is some homemade resin paste. And it is just a part B resin that was left over, and then a lot of white mica powder. And I'm just going to mix it in my other 2 ounce cup. And you want to make sure that you get it off your stick too, so that you don't have any of the unmixed resin paste floating or in your epoxy resin. So you do want to mix it up very well. So there's that. And then there's my brown. So I have some brown and white. And then I have my 91% alcohol, and I'm just going to spray that down in my mold. And then I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to go down in the bottom portions of the mold there, just to get the alcohol in all the places. And then I'm going to start pouring my resin. And I'm going to start with the brown and then pour the white into the brown as it's pouring. Once I get a little bit in there, then I'm going to stop, and I am going to use my fingers just to squeeze the bottom portions of the mold where the leaf is and the ear is and all that, just so that I get my resin down in there. And then I do take my stir stick there and I go down in it also, because I don't want any bubbles. I don't want to have, you know, a piece of the leaf missing or an ear missing, you know, that kind of thing. And then I'm just going to keep pouring my 2 colors in my mold as I showed you before. And I want to get it about 2/3 of the way full. And then I am going to put it in my debubbler. And I do have one from Let's Resin. So I did put it in there for about 4 minutes. And then I'm just going to continue pouring the rest of my resin into my mold. Then I'm just going to take my scraper tool, which is one of those spatulas from Amazon. You get 6 in a package. Yeah, I think it's 6 in a package. And it has the little end of it that's kind of curved. It works very well. Sorry, I can't talk. Very well with scraping out resin. So I scrape out all my white. And then I go on to my brown. And I really didn't have quite enough resin to fill up my whole mold. So I did mix up a little bit more and put some more mica powder in it. And you'll see where I mixed up some more. I didn't show it online, but you'll see me pouring it in the mold. So if you're going to mix this up and do this mold, you probably want about 4.5 ounces. I did 4 ounces and it just wasn't quite enough. So here's where I take my lighter and I pop any bubbles that come to the surface. And then I just had a little bit of resin on the top there that I'm just scraping off. And here's where I mixed up some more resin. And I do use the leftover resin in other molds, which I'm not showing on this video. So I take my lighter again to pop some more bubbles. And I do that several times. Now this is about 2.5 hours later because I did put my hedgehog on my heating mat for a couple hours on low. So it looks like the colors kind of melded together. I really didn't have any marbling effect or anything like that I thought I might get. So basically he's one color, but he does have, you know, a few places where he's kind of different colors, which kind of gives him more of a 3D look. But we're going to paint him anyway. So you can see where he kind of looks whitish in places. But he turned out perfect. His leaf was perfect. His nose was good. His ear was there. Everything was there. No bubbles on top. There were a few bubbles underneath, but that's okay. You won't really see those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fine tip Sharpie and I am going to color in his eyes, his mouth, his nose, and then you'll see the other parts that I use the Sharpie on. So I start with his eyes first. And it is a black, I don't know if I said that or not. It is a black Sharpie. But one of the fine tip ones, I think you can get them at the Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. So I did his eyes and his mouth, and now I'm working on his nose. He's very cute. And I did get my mold from Into Resin, which comes from China, and it takes about a month to get to you. My mica powder I got off of Amazon. It is in a package of about 60 different colors. And now I'm just taking my Sharpie there and I am marking in between his toes. There are indentations, so I'm just kind of coloring those in. I do it on his feet and on his little hands. And there were some little bubbles on the bottom of this hand there, but I don't think you can really see them too bad. I mean, it's really nothing that I need to fix, I don't think. And then I do go ahead and color in his ear. So that's what he looks like so far. And now what I do is I get out several different colors of acrylic paint, and I'm going to use the orange first. So I have orange, red, King's Gold, and green. I'm starting out with the orange, and I'm going to paint the whole leaf orange. And I'm sorry if a lot of this is out of the frame of the camera. It is really hard to paint like that and try to get everything underneath the camera. I do try to adjust where I have my hedgehog so that you can see me painting, but yeah, I don't know. I just keep getting out of range of the camera. And I'm just using a smallish brush to paint the leaf. It's not real big or anything like that. And I do paint the top side of the leaf in the orange and the bottom side of it. I just try to be real careful with the bottom side of the leaf where, you know, it butts up against the hedgehog, that I don't put orange paint on the hedgehog himself. Of course, if you do, you can always take it off with a Q-tip and some alcohol. And I don't care that my painting is not totally full coverage. I don't mind the way it looks without it being full coverage. You can also use paint markers if that's what you want to use. I don't have a really good set of paint markers, so I don't normally use them. I just use acrylic paint. Now, I know some of you probably don't like to see me painting this whole thing like this. I did leave it in there in case there were others who wanted to see how I painted it. You can always fast forward through it if you don't want to watch it. So the top part of the leaf stem I did in orange, and then the bottom part I'm going to do in green. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking the red acrylic paint and I'm just going on the edges of the leaf, just all along all the edges. I do put a little bit underneath, but not too much. And again, I'm sorry, you can't really see this very well. It's just hard to paint and have it under the camera. It really is. Let me know if you have any tips or tricks on how to stay under the camera while you're painting. Because, yeah, I have issues with that apparently. And there's where I put the red underneath the leaf, on the bottom side of the leaf. And now I'm using the King's Gold acrylic paint. I don't remember what the name of the red was. The orange was pumpkin. And it's chalk paint from Waverly. These other paints are apple barrel paints. And now I'm using a green, and it's a metallic paint, and it is from Deco. Is it Deco Art? Metallic paint. So that's what the green is. And when I added each color to the leaf, I did not clean off my brush. I just, you know, dipped it in there from the previous color. I didn't worry about it. So this part where I'm doing the green is the veins of the leaf. So I'm just kind of outlining those with the green. Now I'm taking some orange, putting some more orange on there, kind of going over the outside portions of the green a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. I mean, you could paint your leaf whatever color you want. I just thought, you know, a fall leaf would be cute. I like all the bright colors. And I did take some orange down to the bottom stem portion of the leaf so that it wasn't totally green. And in this, I'm just using a little bit of the antique white, and it's really watered down. Just put a little bit of that on the leaf. Not too much, just a little bit. And then add a little bit more red. I mean, you just keep painting it until you like what it looks like. And when you like it, then stop painting. And I'm not the best painter, let me tell you. I am not a painter at all. My sister can paint. I cannot. So I just do it until I think it looks good. So this is that antique white that I'm going to use on the hedgehog's back. So you'll have to tell me what you think of my little hedgehog here. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it. Yeah, I am. I like it. I'm sure someone else could have done a better paint job on it, but you know, I'm not hating what I did. So now I'm just getting the front edges of the hedgehog, and I don't know, do you call it fur or do you call it something else? Is it quills? I don't know. Quills, maybe. So this is what he looks like so far. He's cute. There's the back part. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dark espresso. It is a metallic acrylic paint from Art Deco. Deco Art. And I'm just going to take my little finger thingy there, get some paint on it from the cap, and rub it on the back of my hedgehog. Because I just thought, you know, I got it maybe a little bit too whitish. So this will tone that down just a little bit. And I have to say I was happier with it that way. So there he is. He's so cute. There's the back. There's the front with him holding his leaf. Oh, he's so cute. Let me know what you think. So here he is outside on a log, looking cute, holding his leaf so he won't get sunburned. Anyway, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. And I would love to hear what you have to say about my little critters and all that. And I will see you in the next video.